is Admiral Raddus of the Rebel Alliance. All squadron leaders report in.
What's up, MetaNerdz? In this video, we'll pull from every resource to understand all 4 variants of what is one of the most impressive ships in the MC series. You'll see why the MC75 Star Cruiser earned its price tag of 88 million credits, which is more than half an ISD and 1.5 times the Venator. Its length of 1,204.44 meters, or 3,951 feet and 7 inches. Yes, this is one of those rare times where we get such specific details. It makes it about 2 Falcons longer than the Venator, and about 75% of the ISD, while its height of 435.56 meters, or 1,429 feet, is about the same as 19 AT-ATs, or nearly twice the height of the Venator. It seems like the original atmospheric speed was 650 kilometers per hour, or 403 miles per hour. But that is half the Nebulon B frigate and about 65% of the ISD in Venator. Though with its refits, it gets equipped with 12 Kuat drive yards Guimond 15 sublight ion drives. These sublight engines were housed beneath the engineering section, concealed within the heat-dissipating structure of the ship's design, and modified to enable the massive ship to maintain a cruising speed comparable to that of its starfighter escorts, which should be around 1,000 kilometers per hour. And so on par with the Star Destroyers. The reason behind these refits starts in 18 BBY, when the Galactic Empire seized control of the oceanic planet Mon Calamari. The native Mon Calamari initiated a large-scale exodus, departing their homeworld aboard many of their vast city ships. Among these, the MC75 became the first of their city ships to be retrofitted for military purposes. Originally, they served as passenger liners, civilian transports, and civic government buildings. One notable example, the Profundity, originally functioned as the Civic Governance Tower in Nystillum, before being repurposed as a warship by the Rebellion in their deep space facilities. These conversions marked a turning point as the MC-75s are part of the first wave of vessels to flee Mon Calamari, with additional waves of starships escaping later. And that Star Cruiser name comes from the original civilian role, which is true of most of the MC series. During the war, they became the first true command ships of the Alliance fleet. But with only a limited number in service at any given time, these vessels were frequently assigned to the command of Alliance admirals. Rarely operating independently, they were typically accompanied by a fleet of a dozen or more support ships. In combat, they equipped long-range tactics, using their turbolasers in coordinated groups of 2 to 3 to engage enemy warships. When the situation demanded, they could maneuver between ships to deliver devastating broadsides. For engagements requiring greater firepower, they closed to medium range to deploy their ion cannons. Crews were tasked with dynamically adjusting the ship's shield coverage to reinforce whatever side faced the heaviest fire. Against smaller warships and starfighters, the MC-75s relied on their laser cannons and torpedoes, also fired in coordinated groups of 2 or 3. That crew's size was 3,225, which is less than half the Venator, while also having the space to move 1,000 passengers or ground troops, while having 2 years' worth of consumables for all those people if need be, which would be about 25,000 packs of Rhodian ramen for literally 3 square meals a day. Its Class 1 hyperdrive made it faster than most of the other Rebel and Imperial ships, but was normal for the fish folk and seen in some Republic capital ships. This upgrade transformed the cruiser into a battleship-class vessel, complete with a weapon collar designed to house primary weapons and shield generators. Enhanced shielding was installed on both the fore and aft sections of the superstructure, with the heavily armored forward hull making its concealed deflector shield generators largely redundant. But a deflector shield emitter array was added at the aft for additional protection. And of course, it had an impressive arsenal, with 20 point defense laser cannons, 12 broadside turbolasers, 4 heavy ion cannons, 12 proton torpedo launchers, and 6 tractor beam projectors hidden within a port located forward of the weapon's collar. This formidable array of weaponry enabled the MC-75 to effectively engage the larger warships of the Imperial Navy. Heavy ion cannons are rare on their own, and when combined with 12 proton torpedoes, that is 3 times more than the Venator, and none were found on the ISD, it all makes for a perfect combo to take out shields as quick as possible and deliver the greatest amount of damage before those shields were restored. While the tractor beams mean you could easily capture a target, as you don't have to completely unload your arsenal on the ion-disabled enemy, but use some torpedoes to destroy the engines, shield generators, or ship reactor, and then open up comms to encourage the enemy to make the smart choice and surrender. An armored outrigger fin on the ventral hull housed the command bridge pod and receiver array, positioned opposite a dorsal mast equipped with a communications transmission system and sensor cluster. These blade-like fins, along with the vessel's sleek, tapered profile, were deliberately designed to evoke the primal fear of a predatory fish among the aquatic Mon Calamari, while just behind that ventral outrigger fin was an ordnance pod. And quick shout out to KikiGrotto.com. Everything you buy here helps support the channel. They give us a percentage of it. They have tons of amazing things. These are not official Legos, but that allows you to save on cost and have a ton of different, really unique creations. Obviously, Lego's never going to do military type things, and there is a ton of different options from real wars based on real, vehicles, weapons, artillery pieces, stuff like that. My cart has a ton of cool things. I got amazing space things. This city of Athens is amazing, 1 foot wide, 8 inches tall. Really cool stuff. The only thing with this site, don't want to be the Grinch and ruin your Christmas, be sure to check the shipping times. They do have really kind of lengthy shipping times, but I think it's worth the wait. The builds are solid. I have a ton. There's a bunch back there too, and a ton more I plan on building. So be sure to check them out using the link down below, and you'll get 10% off. Thanks again, Kiki Grotto. The city ship's former civic atrium was repurposed into a docking bay and starship service area. The ship was managed by a hangar traffic control suite, protected by overlapping shields and magnetic containment fields, ensuring proper regulation of oxygen and pressure. And the docking bay was large enough to accommodate vessels up to corvette size, making it a versatile hub for starship operations, which normally included 36 starfighters, which were mission specific and changed frequently, but would see everything from B and U wings to the A, X, and Y trio, while this space could also be attached to large corvettes like the CR-90. The Ordnance version is basically the same, but with an exponential increase in the total number of proton torpedoes on board, dedicated to causing as much damage as possible, and like a massive gunboat, delivering more torpedoes per minute than several fleets of Venators could accomplish. And while I focused on the hit-and-run aspects of the MC-30, although this 75 is not described that way, the fact that it could keep up with starfighter escorts, had a Class 1 hyperdrive, and this insane payload dump, I think this variant could be seen in a similar role, and of course pairing them all would be incredible. Snowballing this effect with precision strike craft stored in the hangar, with one of the Rebel fighters and bombers' ship advantages being that they all had hyperdrives, unlike most TIEs. And thus they could break off and escape into the blue void and then regroup if things went sideways, and you didn't necessarily have to make it back to the mothership for a successful hit and run. Of course, the supply chain issues of being rebels would limit the use of this strategy, but just the possibility of this happening had to ruin the sleep of many an Imperial. While the armored cruiser is a bit straightforward, just thicker hull plating throughout. In the MC-30 vid, I also mentioned that once its shields were down, even basic weaponry would Swiss cheese through it effortlessly. But this beefy, up-armored MC-75 made it so that even if those glorious Mon Cal shields somehow went down, it would still be able to battle on for a while without much worry. By 2 BBY, after Phoenix Cell secured a Quasar Fire-class cruiser, the Talaris Rebel Stardocks transitioned into war production. These facilities began refitting the MC-75, starting with the Profundity, along with the MC-80A Home 1 type heavy star cruisers Home 1 and Nautilin. Colonel Ange Zavor documented the operations at the shipyards in the Talaris Cometry Cloud in a report to Commander-in-Chief Mon Mothma, which was later included in the Rebel files. By 1 BBY, the Profundity had become one of the Alliance fleet's first fully battle-ready capital ships. It served as the flagship of Admiral Raddus, the former mayor of Nystulum, as well as the flagship of the entire Alliance fleet. When Rogue One disobeyed Alliance High Command and infiltrated Scarif to retrieve the Death Star plans, the Rebel Alliance ultimately decided to deploy its fleet in support, leading to the pivotal Battle of Scarif in the Galactic Civil War. Admiral Raddus commanded the Alliance forces from the bridge of the Profundity and successfully received a transmission containing the stolen plans from the surface of Scarif.
Transmission received.
Admiral, we have the plans!
She did it!
But before the Profundity and its remaining Alliance ships could retreat, the Death Star and the Imperial flagship Devastator arrived. The ensuing conflict saw several Alliance ships destroyed, and the Profundity sustained heavy damage, rendering it incapable of escape. Imperial forces, led by Darth Vader, boarded the Profundity, resulting in the death of Admiral Raddus and the massacre of the Rebel crew. Despite this, the Death Star plans were successfully transferred to the Tantive 4, which was docked in the hangar and managed to escape the battle. Following the loss of Admiral Raddus in the Profundity, Admiral Ghleal Akbar assumed command of the remaining Alliance fleet elements, those which had not been deployed to Scarif. And in the lead-up to the Battle of Yavin, he submitted a report to Mon Mothma detailing the defense of Yavin 4 and the grave threats posed by Imperial actions. In this report, Akbar acknowledges the profound loss of the Profundity, but affirmed that the fight continued with the Home 1 taking its place as the Alliance's flagship. That report too was included in the Rebel files. By this time, several additional MC-75 Star Cruisers had completed their retrofits and were deployed to support various Alliance operations. Following the mutiny of the Mon Calamari mercantile fleet, at least 5 MC75 star cruisers were stationed at the Mako Ta space docks, and they were involved in several skirmishes over the following months, with the MC75 Aspiration receiving acclaim for its role in a battle where it inflicted significant damage on an Imperial Victory-class Star Destroyer. On the same day as the monumental Battle of Endor, the Temperance and Accordance participated in a conflict in the Hosnian system. Here, an Imperial armada attempted to strike at the core worlds. The battle concluded with an Alliance victory, though the Accordance was destroyed, but the Temperance managed to rescue its surviving crew. Following the Battle of Endor, the Alliance transitioned into the New Republic, and the MC-75 remained a key component of the New Republic defense fleet. Among them was that ship, the Temperance, assigned to New Republic General Hera Syndulla, after the destruction of her previous flagship, the Acclamator-class assault ship Lodestar, which was lost during the Cerberon system campaign. The Temperance played a crucial role in the Trioth operation, delivering bombardments on the Scar of Trioth. And around this time, the ship also served as the headquarters for Vanguard Squadron, tasked with defending the New Republic's Project Starhawk in the Bormia sector, which was the most unique vessel produced by the New Republic. In 34 ABY, after the Resistance recovered the Rebel files, both Akbar and Ushos annotated Zavor's original report to Mon Mothma regarding the Talaris Rebel Stardocks and the status of the Profundity. By 35 ABY, with the return of Darth Sidious, the Resistance joined forces with Lando Calrissian to lead a massive fleet. This fleet included dozens of MC-75 star cruisers and their sub-variants, including the B and C, participating in the climactic Battle of Exegol above the Sith world. After their victory, the celebrations commenced on Agent Kloss, with at least one MC-75 star cruiser seeing the ultimate victory out. That's it for its breakdown, and as for behind the scenes facts, supposedly there were 16,000 ship models used for the Galaxy fleet at the end of the sequel trilogy, and this resulted in countless variants of the ship, as they mashed up 3D model ship details. As much as that whole series was lackluster, and there is a lot of magic lost in not using real ship models in general, there's something to the fact that ending the series in this digital kit bashing of ships, when physical kit bashes, or the combining of parts from model kits to make something new, was such a big part of the very first Star Wars ships and the entire original trilogy, to see that done even if digitally, there is something cool about that. If you want to read up more on the ship yourself, check out Rogue One, The Ultimate Visual Guide, of course the Rebel Files, and the Encyclopedia on Starfighters and Other Vehicles. Please hit that like button, it really is the best way to help me out. Comment your thoughts and suggestions, subscribe to see more, and check out these videos, I'm sure you'll like them. But most important of all, remember, some fish get even more deadly when you take them out of water, and the Force will be with you, always.